Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino, and it's a very special Oscar Sunday today. And we are going to talk about our favorite films of 2020. We're going to kind of give our final predictions on some of the nominees. And I am just so excited to be here to do that with everybody. This should be a lot of fun. And this is an amazing day. It's one of my favorite days of the year. And it's a great day for film fans in general, whether you want to just celebrate the movies that have been nominated, whether you just want to celebrate the fact that we had movies in 2020 in that difficult year, or whether you just want to be like Mark and yell at the TV because Sonic the Hedgehog didn't get nominated. Just a fantastic year all around for film fans, and should be a lot of fun to talk about our personal favorites. Hey guys, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. And sitting here with me today, of course I'm not by myself. I did have to bring in my good friend Samee Ramirez. Samee, how you doing today?
Doing good. I'm really happy to be here. This is Oscar Sunday. It is the Super Bowl for movie fans. I'm so excited to talk about these movies. I spent all week watching them. So
Me as
let's
well.
go.
Me as well. Exactly. And this is going to be so much fun, guys. Thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and start with our personal favorites of 2020. And by doing this, the way we're going to do this is we are going to start with our honorable mentions. We are going to breeze right through these, and let's get going. So these are movies I couldn't personally get on my list, and I wanted to. For my honorable mentions are The Father, Big Time Adolescence, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Nomadland, and Bad Boys for Life. If any of the filmmakers are watching the show today, I'm sorry you couldn't make it on my personal list, but, congratulations to you for at least making honorable mentions. Samee, what are your personal honorable mentions?
So mine, we have a couple similar ones. Mine are One Night in Miami, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Nomadland, Onward, and Hamilton.
Right
Yeah.
on, right on, and that's very exciting. It's a very good list. I'm not gonna lie to you. Really, really like that list, and obviously, as you said, some are similar to mine. So of course, we're gonna
Yeah.
agree on a lot of those. Here's where we get into disagreements, though, folks. We're gonna go through our top tens,
This is the big boys. They're the
and
Big
this should
Ten.
be a lot of fun. Here we go. So my personal number 10 for 2020 is a film that really surprised me, the way that it flipped the horror genre on its head, and wasn't expecting much from it. I mean, I was kind of expecting a little bit from the filmmaker that was involved, but it just did everything I was hoping it would do tenfold. That film is the Invisible Man. That is a wonderful, wonderful horror flick, thrillerish flick, directed by Lee Wanell. And man, did it shock me in many moments. Great, great film. Congratulations to The Invisible Man for making my number 10. Samee, what is your number 10?
So my number 10 is a movie that I recently just finished watching. It is Sound of Metal.
Mm.
I absolutely adored this movie. I think all the main performances from Riz Ahmed to Olivia Cook to Paul Racy was just out of this world phenomenal. They were all doing absolutely incredible masterwork. And the big thing about this movie that I love so much is that it really gave me a very truthful insight to a community that I truly don't know that much about, that I'm not involved in at all. I don't really know that many deaf people in my life. I don't use sign language regularly. And to be able to watch this movie and really go on the journey of understanding that
100%.
being deaf is not a disability, that being deaf is not something that needs to be fixed, it's not something wrong with you, was really powerful and empowering, and really left, like, I was very emotional throughout this entire movie. Absolutely loved Sound of Metal.
100%, 100%. Great flick, great flick. Good pick. Um, little surprised it's only at number 10 for you, but we'll see what happens.
And it's fresh in my mind.
Fair enough.
I haven't sat with it as long as I have with some of these
It's
others.
fair.
So
It's fair. Hey, I'm glad it's in your list at all. That's all that matters. It is
yeah.
one of the best films of 2020 easily. All right. So my number 9 is one that also surprised me. Should have had franchise potential, 100% overlooked. But that is Love and Monsters. Visually stunning film. Really, really enjoyed this one. Dylan O'Brien and Michael Rooker just did fantastic work. Had a great story. It was something new. It was something fresh, but also kind of had that real big budget going for it. Wish the marketing would have been better for it, because I feel like more people should have watched this one. But the people that did see it tended to rate it high, so I was really, really thrilled about that. So I hope, and I know it probably won't happen, that it does get a sequel one day, but it's just so deserving of that. But it's just something so new, so fresh, visually stunning. Love the aesthetic. Everything about that film is just great. Samee, what is your number 9?
So my number 9 is a film that not many people saw or heard of, and the people who did see it did not like it that much. It does not. It has, I think, like a 50 something rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But I loved it. And this movie's on HBO Max, if this sounds interesting to you. It is called Wendy, and it's directed by, I believe his name, it's pronounced Ben Zetlin, I believe, but he's the director of Beast of the Southern Wild. That was Oscar nominated a few years ago. And I believe this is his second movie after that. But Wendy is a Peter Pan retelling, and it's about a little girl named Wendy and her two brothers, and they live in the South in America, and I want to say the 90s. And there's a train that keeps going by their house, and one day they see a little boy on that train, and so they hop on to follow him. And
Awesome.
it's just, if for me, I am obsessed with the Peter Pan story. It's one of my favorite, literally, stories, narratives in all of fiction. I am obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with Peter Pan adaptations. I want to know everything. And like, I consider myself a connoisseur of the Peter Pan adaptations. And Wendy was such a fresh take on it. It did so many interesting new things while also being so true to the heart of the Peter Pan story. And it's all of the kids who were in it were so incredible. I don't remember any of their names, but specifically the kids who played Peter and Wendy were phenomenal actors. This movie was really overlooked. If you love Peter Pan stories and love other Peter Pan adaptations, highly recommend Wendy.
I didn't get to see this, and this is the problem with our list. It's like it's always limited to the things we've seen, you know what I mean? And I don't, it's like that's what kind of sucks about doing something like this. That's the pitfall of it. But for the most part, I mean, that sounds like a really intriguing film. I would love to check it out. Being a Peter Pan fan myself, didn't even know it existed. I mean, I'd heard the name, but I didn't know it was like a Peter Pan adaptation.
I saw the trailer came up on, like, it was recommended to me on YouTube or something, and so I just watched it, and then I saw it on HBO Max, and I was like, oh, it's out.
Interesting.
And loved it. Yeah.
All right. I'll have to check this one out for sure. All right. Moving on to number 8. This is a film that I feel like was incredibly snubbed from this year's nominees of Best Pictures, but I mean, there's definitely a couple I'd swap out for sure. I think that it's very deserving of it. Movie that just subverted my expectations at every turn. Movie that had me going, oh my God, all the time. Just like very very surprising in terms of its direction of the story. My number 8 is Pieces of a Woman. Great performances by both Shia LaBeouf and Vanessa Kirby. I wish Shia LaBeouf wouldn't have messed himself up so much this year, because I really think that he could have had a chance, but they both just did a phenomenal job. The story just kept going, and it kept zigging where I thought it was going to zag, and I really enjoyed that about it, and it did it with such a strength and conviction, you know, that it was like, oh man, I believe in the ideas, even though there was from time to time I didn't necessarily agree with the direction it was going. It was like, man, but like it just did it with such confidence that I just can't help but to love the fact that it was just helmed so incredibly well. So really enjoyed Pieces of a Woman. Just definitely one I'd recommend for you folks who haven't seen it. But yeah, Samee, what is your number 8?
It's nice. My number 8 is a Borat subsequent movie film. Ooh. I'm not going to say the whole thing because I don't know it by heart. But I'm a big fan of the first Borat movie and was so hyped for the second one. It came out at the most perfect time this movie could have come out. It came out literally right before the presidential election last year. And it was just... it was the breath of fresh air and a little bit and the comedic relief that we all, me especially, but I think we all needed at that time. And it was a perfect reflection of kind of what we today think is funny and the kind of madness that is going on right now reflected in a movie. And I just think that we're always going to have like we're always going to have Borat as a reflection of, that like, post like Bush era, and now we're always going to have subsequent movie film for, the year that 2020 was. And it's absolutely hilarious. I'm rooting for Maria Baklova to win Best Supporting Actress. I want her to win so bad. That is who I personally would have voted for if I was in the Academy. I think I just think if we have been praising Sacha Baron Cohen for this long, then we need to be praising her just as much, because she matches his energy, his level, his everything just so wonderfully. And at the heart of it, it's truly like a very beautiful father-daughter story. That's at the heart of it. And loved it. Very nice.
I wanted to get that one on my list so bad anywhere, even on the honorable mentions. I just could not, unfortunately, find room for it. I thought it was, but I second everything you say about it. I loved it so much, and it was just such a great film. Just unfortunately, sometimes it comes down to the wire, and you can't really make room for some of these films. But that was one. I'm glad it's on your list, even though it didn't make mine, unfortunately. So, yeah. So, my number 7 is one that is the reason that Samee barely talks to me outside of this show. My number 7 is Tenet. I really think it's a great technical achievement. I mean, the way that Christopher Nolan managed to shoot the same film backwards, that he did forwards in a way, was just incredible. I think that this is definitely one that people are, overlooking a little bit in terms of like what actually had to go into the film. I think it also include great performances from Kenneth Branagh, John David Washington, and Robert Pattinson. I think that they just worked really well together, and it's just, it to me is, it goes near the top for me. I know a lot of people disagree of Christopher Nolan films. I just think that he keeps defying what it means to be a filmmaker and what we can actually do, and almost using the camera as kind of his way of magic, that, it's like it's an illusion, in a way. So it's unbelievable what he continues to do. I think it had a phenomenal score. Ludwig definitely got snubbed this year in terms of his score for this, at the very least. Love Tenet. It's rewatchable to me. Just think it has a really great mind-bending type story to it. Was blown away by many moments. I'm still impressed by by the things that Nolan can pull off just with the camera. It's unbelievable. Love Tenet. Great work. Samee, what is your number 7?
Everything's subjective. Art is subjective, people. That's my opinions on Tenet.
Please don't stab me.
Anyway, number 7 is The Father. This is a movie I also just recently finished watching, actually. But I really love this movie. I think that this is one of Anthony Hopkins' most wonderful, it's hard to say wonderful, but most powerful roles, I guess, is the right word to use. It's just, there's a scene, especially at the end, where I was just absolutely like, I had no words. I was like, I couldn't, it was so perfect and so wonderful, like, and artistically crafted and wonderful. But it was such a sad moment that it just made me feel all of the things at once. That I think that really solidified it for me. Also, Olivia Colman is great in this movie. The production design, I think, was absolutely wonderful too, of all the small little changes that happen throughout. And there's so many little things that just kind of pop in here and out that change, that aren't really noticeable but are, that really made me love this movie. But it's that story, it's of Anthony Hopkins's character. The way I'm kind of thinking about it, I really love this movie, is if anybody out there knows or has read Shakespeare's King Lear, the Father read very King Lear to me, and I think Anthony Hopkins probably knew that because he is a Shakespeare person. And so I felt okay reading a lot into that, where to me King Lear is about what happens when somebody has nothing but their imagination. That's all they have left is imagination. And that's also, I think, what The Father is about as well. It's a very hard but powerful and worth your time watch. I love The Father.
Great comparison, great description. Obviously, that one made my honorable mentions. I mean, I did think it was great, even though to me it started out as kind of a drag. I think it just definitely
starts slow, sure.
Once you start piecing everything together in that film, you're like, wow. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool movie. So my number six is one that I thought would have been higher, upon watching it. But just sometimes again, it comes down to the wire, and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Things just do a little bit better or worse than you think they're going to. But when it comes down to ranking your movies, so this was a really tough one not to put higher. But on the same hand, I had to really weigh it out. My number six is Promising Young Woman. Just really loved Carey Mulligan's performance. Emerald Fennell is a filmmaker to look out for sure. I was really, really happy with the visual work in this film. I was really, really happy with the performance. The idea of this character study of a very broken character. Also, it's a wonderful story of vengeance, in a lot of ways too. So, really loved Promising Young Woman. Blew my mind. I did not expect it to be as good as it was when I watched it, but can't praise this one enough. I really, really loved Promising Young Woman. Wish it was higher, but unfortunately, there were just films that just did a little bit better, in my opinion. But yeah, Samee, what is your number six?
So my number six is The Trial of the Chicago Seven.
Ooh,
I really did love this movie. I didn't think I knew I was gonna like it because I really like Aaron Sorkin's writing and I love all the actors and
of course.
the subject matter is something that I'm like I care about and I'm interested in and want to watch a story about. But I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I loved it. I really did. I think what's so powerful about it is throughout the movie I kept being like that stuff is still happening. Like what I'm watching right now, I saw happen like last summer. It just kept blowing my mind of like, this is still so relevant and still so true in America today. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
insane that, people think that just because, this happened that, oh, then all of it was solved and we were all fine afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I can show you footage from the summer of 2020, some of this stuff going down like it's still very very relevant. That was the main thing that really just kept blowing my mind throughout. And also I mean the also it like it goes to say the writing is incredible, like every single line is just so thoroughly thought out. I
Yeah.
really would like to like get my hand on this script because it feels like a piece of literature almost when like all of the lines feel so thought out and so purposefully placed that it
Right.
reads like literature to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
For sure.
loved Trial of the Chicago Seven. Just loved everything about it.
Yeah, Trial of the Chicago Seven. Powerful is the key word to that film. That is a very powerful film indeed.
Yes.
So
Oh,
my
and the ending made me cry too. The last like 5 minutes really got me.
Me too. Not gonna lie to you. Me
If you know,
too.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Mhm.
My number five is one we've talked about already. My number five is a little bit lower on your list, Samee. My number five is Sound of Metal. Was really stunned by
It's really good.
Riz Ahmed in that film. A gentleman who I haven't enjoyed too much outside of the Sister Brothers and Nightcrawler. Typically find him to be a very boring actor. In this film, he just came to life in the best way. I agree with Samee that it just gave me this new appreciation for the deaf community. Like, not that, I never sympathize with them. You don't really feel the struggle till you watch this film, or unless you're actually deaf yourself. It's just, there's so much more work that goes into it, and there's so much respect for touching upon the deaf community in this film. And it just, again, great sound design. Love the way they dealt with the deaf community, and it is amazing. And just and also, it's about a metal drummer, which is kind of right up my alley a little bit. Not that I'm a metal drummer, but yeah, I do enjoy that genre of music. And I thought they did every piece of it just very well, and they touched everything with respect. Paul Raci is another one who was just phenomenal in the film. He really
Yeah.
did a great job. But Riz Ahmed is, to me, the standout. He just surprised the hell out of me. So yeah, great picture. Thought, again, this is another one when I saw it, I thought it'd end up higher on my list, but but five ain't too shabby. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Excuse me, Samee. What is your number five?
This was a really hard one to place. I kept going back and forth a lot with my placement of my top 10. The movies all kind of stayed the same, but they kind of fluctuated on where they were placed. And it feels a little low to me to put this here because of how much I love this movie, but the four that come after it, I do love a bit more. But it's Judas and the Black Messiah.
Ooh.
This movie left after I finished watching it, I was left in such a state of, I guess you could call it shock, sadness, realization, epiphany of just like, holy shit, I guess is the state I was in after watching this movie. And I left me in like that mood for, I was like that for a whole like 2 days after
Yeah.
I first saw it because it just impacted me that much. And I've talked about on other streams that we've done that the main thing is, again, the fact that the epiphany I had was that my entire life I was taught, or I thought I believe that the Black Panther Party was like a terrorist organization, was a bad thing, that was something to not look on proudly and be like upset about, be like, they're not good. If you like Black Panther's not good. That was just the bias that I realized I had. And then watching this movie, I was like, I know nothing. I was taught nothing about the Black Panthers. I was taught the lie that the FBI perpetrated to silence them down. And I'm like, because now I'm like, they were a revolutionary organization that all they wanted was to
Right.
empower Black people. And like every time it was brought up in my American school, that was seen as a terrorist organization, and that left me in a really bad place and
Right.
made me really confront a lot of things,
100%.
but for the better. I kind of am obsessed with this movie. I love it so much. I think Daniel Kaluuya is going to win for supporting actor, and I think Lakeith Stanfield should have been nominated for best actor. I don't think they should be both in supporting. I think if anything that makes the vote split, which makes me upset because again of how much I love this movie and how much of those performances really were a big part of why it impacted me. I just like I love everything about the movie, but again the big thing is how it made me feel, the place that it left me in. And chef's kiss, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, that was another one where I was, struggling to get it on the list because I was kind of having to weigh out like my own personal tastes and also just how well the movie was made. And unfortunately, it didn't have a spot this year for me. This is of course, this list needs to be about our own personal tastes.
Right.
For me, I told you, I found the film to be very powerful. I don't think I would ever revisit it again. Not just because of its unsettling nature. I just also don't think it was working in my personal taste as well as some of these others. But I think everything that it was set out to achieve, it definitely did. I loved all the performances between Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, and Jesse Plemons. I mean, they all just did a phenomenal job. Kaluuya obviously being the standout of those three, but
it's a little like I keep comparing it to like Schindler's List, like like Schindler's List. Do you necessarily want to watch that? Do you want that terror in front of your eyeballs? No. But is it important, and was it a beautiful movie that you would rewatch, that you would say you loved? It's that. It's the same. I feel the same way about
100%. The only difference I would say with Schindler's List is like it has that extra bit of style that I was kind of looking for in Judas and the Black Messiah, and I think that affected it, making it on my own personal list. So like I kind of want to see for Schindler's List again, not often, but again just based on Spielberg's framing and style. Maybe Judas and the Black Messiah will age to that point for me, but I can tell you as of right now, when we're looking at everything that I've seen this year, it just didn't speak to me on that same level, unfortunately. And I was really hoping to get it on the list because I still think it's a strong, very important film that people need to see, and unfortunately just could not find room for it this year. But that's it. It was almost like the next one on, though, probably, because it was like it's that good.
Nice.
Like I recognize it's that good. But so moving into my number 4, my number 4 is actually One Night in Miami. This movie was awesome. Surprised the hell out of me. I thought all the cast it just included a great ensemble cast. Really incredible direction from Regina King. Was really surprised as to what she was able to bring us. And I actually absolutely understand why Leslie Odom Jr. was the nominated one this year, because I feel like, when you see at the end and he sings that spoiler alert for folks who haven't seen it, but at the end when he sings
the song,
a change is gonna come. A change is gonna come.
Right. Yes.
And it's a version that, dare I say, is even better than the Sam Cooke one. And I'm a huge Sam Cooke fan. blew me away, and you just see that single tear coming out of his eye. Oh my god, this movie got me multiple times emotionally.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by how well this ensemble actually worked together, and each of them played their respective parts very, very well. Great job on Regina King. Loved One Night in Miami. I'm gonna watch this one again very soon. That's how much I enjoyed it. I find it to be incredibly rewatchable. Cannot wait to see it again. And yeah, just an incredible experience, and really touched on. And we had a lot of these this year, but touched on important issues for the African American community. So, was this one I think just did it the best of all of them, in my opinion, personally. So,
Yeah.
I really loved
There's
it.
a real big case for the, I guess, quadruple feature of Judas and the Black Messiah,
Mm-hmm.
One Night in Miami, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and honestly, Trial of the Chicago
Yeah,
7. I did hear that maybe also United States versus Billie Holiday could
yeah,
be thrown in there as well. But those four movies, I think, by watching the other ones, it informs you more about
for sure.
the other ones, if that makes
For
sense. You know what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah, I agree with
That
that.
you learn more about the movie you're watching by watching those other three movies, which
Yeah.
I think that's really cool that there's a
Super
thread
cool.
like that
Super
this
cool.
year.
It kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of the year we had both the Darkest Hour and Dunkirk in one
Right,
year,
and
because
Dunkirk,
it was
right.
like, if you watch both of those, that's a great double feature. You
It
can learn
informs you about the other.
yeah, exactly. What is your number 4?
My number 4, this is a sharp turn from number 5.
Okay.
But this is a real kind of sleeper pick. People say it got snubbed. And I don't know if it's like Academy Award level you could fight for it, but this is just one of my favorite movies of this year, and it's Palm Springs. I absolutely loved Palm Springs. I loved Kristen Maloney and Andy Samberg there, and J.K. Simmons too. That whole movie was I mean, it was pitched to me to watch it as Groundhog Day, but it's a rom-com and it's two of them,
Right.
and I was like, that sounds like something I would write. Like, that sounds something like from my imagination. I was like, so of course I'm watching it, and it lived up to every single thing I ever could have thought it would be. It's just a wonderful, I mean, my favorite genre of movie also is romantic comedy.
Yeah.
So, and it's just a wonderful romantic comedy this year that had, sci-fi elements, and it had a wonderful script with great acting.
For sure.
A good rom-com I'm always going to celebrate. Loved Palm Springs.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Palm Springs myself. I thought it was hilarious. I'll watch it again, to be honest with you, just because I thought it was
watch it again,
that
yeah.
funny. And I mean, Andy Samberg and Christina Maloney, right? I mean, both.
Yes, I believe.
Both
yes.
very good
Kristen
in the
Maloney,
Kristen Maloney, right? They were both very good in the film. Tyler Hoechlin, I mean, had a good cast. To me, that one, I got to be honest. The reason it didn't make my personal list today is because I actually, when I saw it, even though I liked it a lot and it's something I'll watch again, thought it was hilarious. Very surprised by Andy Samberg's good performance in it. To me, it was just still one of those things where I did not think it was as good as like everybody was saying. I gotta be honest. I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Thought it was a really good movie, and it was on my honorable mentions for a little bit, but it just unfortunately got weighed down. But hey, good on you for putting it on your list again. Thought it was good. It's one I'd watch again. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, my number 3 is a very, very powerful film with an amazing ensemble cast, and just some of my favorite actors are in the movie, and just really loved it, and was very surprised to get one of these like in that in the fall, which we typically don't. But that is The Trial of the Chicago 7. I know we've talked about this one already, but just incredible film. It was amazing, and like Samee, I did cry at the end there. It really was that powerful. Held that held that kind of weight to me. Just really love this one, and highly recommend it for those of you who haven't seen it. Samee, what is your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is, I don't know if, I feel like a decent amount of people actually saw this movie. I don't want to say it was underrated, because I feel like the people who saw it liked it, but it's Emma with a period. Autumn to Winter's Emma. I am again a huge Jane Austen fan. That Jane Austen's probably my favorite author of all time. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book of all time. The movie is my second favorite movie of all time. I'm a huge Jane Austen person. But I am still very like critical. I went in being like, if it's not good, I will tell
Right.
you. I am very critical. I will be like, I'm watching to see, I'm kind of watching it to see if I hate it. I went in being like, what if I hate it? Okay, let me see
Samee is the
all the
captain
things
of
I
the
can justify.
Samee is the captain of the Jane Austen
Yeah,
police, folks, just so everybody knows.
I am. I'm the captain now. I'm the captain now. Thank you so much. But I loved Emma though. I didn't, but I did. I went in with that critical eye, and I came out being like, I loved it. That was wonderful. I think Anya Taylor-Joy was the perfect Emma. I think she's completely embodied that role. When like people, it's a thing on Twitter now, but like she understood the assignment. She really got who Emma is, why Jane Austen wrote her the way that she did, and how she relates to that world. And it's so wonderful. And I forget his name, Johnny Flynn, I believe is his name, who plays Mr. Knightley. He's also
He did a
phenomenal.
good job.
Yeah, and oh my god, her father, what's her father? Oh my gosh, I forget the actor's name.
Oh yeah, I can't think of it.
Nighy
Bill
something.
Nighy. Bill Nighy.
Bill Nighy,
Yes.
thank you. Bill Nighy is hysterical in this
He's
movie.
always
The
great.
costumes are wonderful. The costumes are out of this world. The makeup was wonderful. The hair was wonderful. I love that there's a scene where Emma's literally in like the tightest pin curls, because that always annoys me when they don't show how they're getting their hair that way. That's very important to me.
Yeah.
I care a lot about historical accuracy. And to me, it looked beautiful, and it had all the emotions. It hit all the beats. I loved Emma.
Yeah.
Loved.
I'll tell you, I was devastated to not be able to make room for Anya Taylor-Joy this year, because I found Emma to be just delightful. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, I just found some of the other movies to be better. That's all it was.
Fair.
It was just a case
Again,
of that.
biased in my personal
Fair
favorite.
enough. Yeah, 100%. I own Emma, folks, though. It's up there somewhere. I do have it in my collection back there. I think it was a really delightful film. And
like right there.
Anya Taylor-Joy, one of my favorite actresses working today, was so devastated not to be able to make room for her here. But hey, it is what it is.
I got you, Anya. I got you.
And
I saw The Queen's Gambit. Dom hasn't even seen The Queen's Gambit yet. I have.
I'll
It was
watch
wonderful.
it. I'll watch it.
You were wonderful in it, Anya.
I'll watch it. All right. So my number 2. Oh, here we go. We're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Top 2.
Number 2. All right. So this film is the one in 2020 that I find myself going back to over and over and over again. I just thought it was so honest from a storytelling perspective. Thought it included very good performances. Thought it was so funny. I love a good comedy. I like when a comedy can make me laugh a lot, but also have a certain amount of heart to it and honesty, as such as this one did. It's from one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. Includes one of the best, I think, actor comedians working today. That is the King of Staten Island. I find myself just going back to this one over and over and over again. I have watched this one a lot. I think it is amazing. And I think that Judd Apatow did a great job directing. There was a lot of things in there that were ballsy for Pete Davidson to put in there from his own personal life, but I just respected so much that he did. And I think it's just an important movie for that reason, especially people who struggle with depression, anxiety, you name it. It's a movie that lets you know that you're not alone in that. And it was a very honest depiction of it. And yeah, I mean, I honestly would have taken Lakeith Stanfield out this year to put Bill Burr in there for Best Supporting. Sorry to say it, but part of that is the
honestly,
fact that
Gary Oldman should not be in. Gary Oldman, I don't think should be nominated. Take Gary Oldman out, put Lakeith in, and then replace him with Bill Burr.
There you go. Yeah, Bill Burr just did a phenomenal job, and I was just so happy with this film. Performances were great all around. Marisa Tomei, for crying out loud, she did such a good job, and the way that she studied, the way that Pete Davidson's real mother is, and like tried to portray that to the best of her ability on screen is just so good. I love this film, and I'm really upset it didn't get more love this year, but I think it deserves it. Anyway, that's my number 2. Samee, what is your number 2?
That's nice. All right, my number 2 is, so I had Onward in my honorable mentions. but this is Pixar's other movie that came out this year, the
Soul.
superior in my mind. It is Soul. I Man, what do I even have to say about Soul? If you've seen it, you know. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just it hits such a personal part of every human that is kind of incredible to think about, that it's coming from a Disney Pixar animated film, and yet that's what makes it so beautiful and so wonderful. This movie, like it's the same. After Inside Out is one of my favorite. This it's not I don't put Soul, I put Inside Out a little bit higher than Soul, but Inside Out, one of my favorite Pixar movies, Disney movies of all time. And I felt the same way after Soul as I did Inside Out, where it's just like I thought about myself and me as a person
Yeah.
in a different way, which is that a Disney movie made me do that. That I just like it, and for the better, I think, made me a better person by thinking about myself in that certain way and understanding these certain huge abstract ideas in the world in such a simple way that makes you be able to comprehend it and think about it. And it's just so wonderful. I love Tina Fey's character 22 is really my favorite character of that movie. Her whole storyline is just, I have no words. Again, it's if you've seen it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of the most beautiful stories that I saw this year was honestly that of 22
Yeah.
in Soul. And it makes me emotional every time I think about it. I love Joe Gardner, played by Jamie Foxx. The music is incredible. The score was like, oh, just Chef's Kiss, wonderful, by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross and John Baptiste. The animation is gorgeous. Like, it looks exactly like New York City. The lighting is out of this world. It is a perfect, I think, Pixar movie. It's everything you want a Pixar movie to be. Still fun for kids, because there is, again, if you know, there's a whole thing with a
Yeah.
cat. Not
Yeah.
my favorite part of the movie, but the stuff that the emotional beats that happen because of the cat, I do like. So I'm like,
For sure.
I can't say I hated it,
Yeah.
that part. But that's really my only complaint. And it's you have the kid aspects to keep all of the kids engaged and wanting to pay attention, but then you still step back from that and look at what's at the heart of the movie, which is very adult, deep, universal subject matter, but made clear for children and for me, I guess.
Yeah.
That I it's the To me, it's one of the most perfect Pixar movies. It's everything I wanted it to be. I just have no words.
For sure.
What more can I say?
For sure. Yeah,
Soul.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, of the two, I'm actually a bigger Onward fan. I know I'm in the minority on that, but
Interesting.
Soul was really fantastic. I really struggled to not put it on my list anywhere too. I really wish I could have made it. I mean, but Onward would have been on there first again for me, just because I know I'm in the minority. I gravitated toward Onward more for whatever reason, but loved them both. Two great Pixar films this year. That's just something to celebrate right there. The fact that you get that in a single year is awesome. But yeah, so here we go. I was trying to do a drum roll, came off cheesy, forget it. My favorite film of the year, folks, here we go. My number one is a movie that just incredible performances, completely got snubbed. No love this year. Completely original, completely intense. I can revisit it so many times because of its intensity and how much it affected me. And just, I love being in the moment with the characters in the film. I find it to be incredibly strong, despite, apparently popular opinion. That is Malcolm and Marie. I don't understand why Zendaya did not get nominated this year. I don't get it. I think that is highway robbery. I mean, she should have been nominated for sure. Wow. I mean, just to, make a movie about two characters arguing for a whole night and like have me so captivated by that was just brilliant. Doesn't require a lot of resources to get made, but I think that's cool. I think we need more movies like this and to just pay tribute to some of the greatest classics of all time. Really, really love this movie. Completely got snubbed, in my opinion, for multiple different awards this year. When I saw it, I was like, this is it. The awards are over. This is going to win them all. It's going to sweep them all. And I was wrong. I really thought people would have taken this differently. But it hit me on that level, and that's the important thing. And I guess that happens sometimes. So, Samee, tell people why Promising Young Woman is your number one.
It is indeed. Thinking, I mean, at this point, it's process of elimination. Like, you know what I mean? There's only one that I haven't.
Well, it wasn't on
yet.
the list anywhere, and I know how much you love this movie. So please,
it's the thing. There's one that's missing, and it can only go at the number one spot. It's Promising Young Woman, written and directed by Emerald Fennell, starring Carey Mulligan. My favorite movie of this year. I rewatched it last night. Because I bought it because I loved it that much. It was the only movie that I bought this year.
I've been wanting to watch it again. So yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I need it. I need to have access to this movie whenever I want. So I bought it and I watched it with my mom last night. And it just re-solidified it. Like I've seen it about 5 times now. And I love it more and more every single time. It's it gets so emotional. I get emotional talking about it and like tongue-tied because I have literally no bad things to say about it. I think it's the most perfect movie. I want to give a class. I want to give a lecture on this movie just to get all of my thoughts out on it. I think the soundtrack, the moment this movie opens, you understand the tone, you get where it's going.
For sure.
You're on the ride. And it just keeps building up from there on every level. The soundtrack, the costumes, the acting, the directing, the script.
For sure.
The way the characters are cast, the setting, the production design, every little detail of this movie, down to like her fingernails, is thought out precisely, and it's all in such a beautiful vision. After watching, I've seen a ton of interviews now with Emerald Fennell and the whole cast because again, I'm obsessed, and like I just feel like Emerald Fennell is written all over this movie. It's her personality, it's her vision, it's a story that she wants to tell, and that again for me is so empowering. Besides, the movie is very empowering, but also that is so powerful and empowering to me. And the story of Cassie, played by Carey Mulligan, is just it's so important. That's the best way to say it. It's so important for, I think, people to see this movie and understand where she's coming from. Because there is a lot of people who seem like, oh, she's a psycho, right? Or, oh, she's crazy. And it's like, you need to watch and understand the movie. And I think for men and women, this movie is the perfect dissection of both men and women in kind of these situations, how different people act and how it's still wrong, no matter kind of how it goes. And I don't have a bad thing to say about this movie. It was absolutely perfect, and I hope it sweeps tonight. It's not going to, but I hope it does. I think it is going to win Best Screenplay, to which tears will run down my eyes because I cannot wait to watch her acceptance speech. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to cry. But again, and the main message of this movie is that there are promising young women out there whose voices do not get heard because we value that of promising young men more. That's what I would say the theme of this movie is, that there are promising young women out there who get punished for no reason, while promising young men get to make all these mistakes and thrive for no other reason other than gender, pretty much. And I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that, but if you haven't seen it, you have to see Promising Young Woman. I literally, I'm going to give a lecture on this movie one day. So I could talk about it for 3 hours straight. I can dissect every inch of this movie because it's just so detailed and so thought out. And it's all, again, it all is to add to that theme, to that vision. It's just the best movie that came out this year.
Yeah. Great film, great script, great performances. I mean, it just all around. I mean, like you were saying, great soundtrack, really sets the tone right from the get-go when you hear the Charlie XCX song.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Wonderful stuff. I really enjoyed that one. Great pick for you and great words on that film, Samee. Great words you just had. Okay. I'm sorry I stole your thunder for announcing what it was, but come on, I just knew I had to.
It was process of elimination at that point.
Yeah.
There was only one movie that I hadn't talked about yet.
I'll I'll be honest. You can believe me or not, though. I predicted that would be your number one anyway, even before we started this whole thing. But I'm happy it was. I'm happy it was.
Just love it. When I first rented it, I got like a 20 or a 48-hour rental, and I watched it 3 times in 48 hours.
Nice.
Like, I love this movie.
For sure.
From the second I saw it, I knew this is the best one.
Yeah. Fair deal. Fair deal. All right, guys. We're going to get to the nominations now. Sammy's going to start by reading off our nominations for the best animated features. What we're going to do is we're each going to give what we would like to win. If we were to cast our vote, what would it be? And then we're also going to give our prediction on what will win. So here we go. Samee, what are the best animated features?
All right. We have Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, Wolfwalkers. Do you want me to go first?
I mean, I think we're both in agreement it's going to be Soul, right?
I mean, I was going to say 1, 2, 3, Soul.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
It's Soul. I mean...
Right.
What more to say? Like, it's gonna be Soul, I think. And I think it should be Soul. Again, it's my second favorite movie of the year.
Yeah,
Soul.
I mean, I would vote Soul on that too, in this particular category. I mean, I think the only, and I doubt it, believe me, I highly doubt it. But if anything upsets it, it would be Over the Moon. But I think it's going to be Soul. I think we both agree it's going to be Soul. There's no way.
Also, yeah. I didn't know this, but I'm just looking at it that Glenn Keane, I guess, is one of the producers for Over the Moon, where Glenn Keane was a Disney animator, and he animated like The Beast and Ariel.
Yeah.
He's a big Disney animator.
Yeah. And the writer, I believe, of Soul is the same writer for One Night in Miami, if I'm not mistaken. So that's cool
Kent Powers.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yep. That's awesome.
So,
all right, Samee. We are going to move right into best original screenplay. What are the best original screenplays this year?
The best original screenplays this year are Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of Chicago 7. I think I'm going Promising Young Woman is gonna win, and I also want it to win up. Every category the Promising Young Woman is nominated in, I want that to win, but I think this is the one that it actually will win. I do think it's gonna win original screenplay, because the screenplay awards, they tend to give like screenplay and best picture tend to not be the same. It's usually if like a movie sweeps, like Parasite last year swept, so it got screenplay and picture. That's different. If a movie is not a big sweep like that, it tends to be different movies. And screenplays where they kind of give the more like edgy, kind of weird, like Jojo Rabbit won best adapted screenplay a few years ago. It's kind of more movies like that versus overall picture. So, and I think Promising Young Woman is the one that they're going to pick this year. I think they're going to want to give it some love somewhere, and it's going to be here.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to agree with you 100%. And honestly, I know it's going to surprise people, even though it was a little lower on my personal list. I still think it's the most deserving in this category in particular, just based on its originality. If we're going to talk like originality of a screenplay, this is the one that deserves it, and I think it's going to win. So I do agree with you on that. So yeah, I'll go with your opinion. What's for the best adapted screenplay? Let's see what we got there.
I'm going to say the whole thing just once because I want to see if I can get it out. So first we have Borat subsequent movie film, delivery of progenitus bribe to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. And then The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, The White Tiger. Probably Nomadland. I mean... honestly, I'd give it to The Father. If it was my pick, I'd pick The Father, but it's probably going to be Nomadland.
Yeah, Borat subsequent movie film, we've talked about this on the show before. It got screwed in this category because I don't know what it's supposed to be adapted
from. It's a sequel, so it's adapted?
Yeah, I mean, Rudy Giuliani's messed up mind. That's what it got adapted from. I don't know.
They adapted the fantasies of Rudy Giuliani's mind. Like, what do you mean adapted? From what?
I'll be honest. Like, I think that this is gonna go to One Night in Miami. I'll be 100% real.
I think that could be the upset.
Yeah, I think it's deserving as well. I mean, this was adapted from a play, right? So I mean, it's
It
it's
is.
it's definitely, I think, for me, yeah, that's the one I think is most deserving, and I actually think that this will win as well. Like that is going to be my prediction. So, I think I'm
Nice.
going to go with One Night in Miami. Well, all right, what do we got for best director?
Best director. This is honestly kind of a very stacked category this
Yes.
year. All right, so for directing, we have Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. So we know my personal choice, but I
Yes.
think this is Chloe Zhao. This is Chloe Zhao's to lose. I think she's gonna win for sure, but I think it's her. I think it's her.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see Another Round this year. I was a little upset about that.
Me
But anyway,
neither. I was upset too.
yeah, really, I'll check it out here eventually. But
I do want to see it.
yeah, anyway, yeah, Sammy, I agree with you. My personal pick here would be Promising Young Woman again. I think that Emerald Fennell, being a new filmmaker on the scene, I think actually is the more
Right.
deserving in my personal opinion.
That's the other thing. I forget that. I'm like, that's her first movie, fam.
I'm gonna,
That's her
yeah.
first go
But
around.
this is Chloe
Like,
Zhao's first go around too. I get that,
you
and
make a
I
good
think
point. You
that
make a good point.
I think she is going to get it this year. Unfortunately, I think that the film was just received better when you listen to how it's been acclaimed, and I think that this one will go to Chloe Zhao. However, I think Emerald Fennell's could be the upset this year. We'll see, but
Right.
I think it is going
I
to go
agree.
to Chloe Zhao. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So,
But still, love women, love female directors, no matter what. I think we're at the end of the night, we're gonna get our second female director Oscar win
yeah,
of all time, which is insane.
yeah,
She's gonna be the only second women in what, 90 plus years?
yeah. It's crazy, crazy.
For a dollar, name a woman.
Yeah,
Do you know that? Sorry. I keep seeing that online all the time. Billy on the street. He's
yeah,
like, sir, for a dollar, name a
yeah. I
woman.
love Billy on the Street. Love
People
Billy on the
doing
Street.
that with movies, like they watch like the beginnings of like the opening crawls of
Oh,
movies,
oh,
and
okay.
they're like, for a dollar, name a woman.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we're gonna name another woman tonight.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we have in
And do
the
supporting actors.
we'll do supporting actor, yeah.
All right, it's a supporting actor in a supporting role. We have Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci, The Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah. This is Kaluuya. This is Kaluuya's season. He's taking it. I really feel like he's gonna take it.
I disagree. I think that it's going to split the vote. I think it's going to be Sacha Baron Cohen.
I think it right. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but like I think if the vote does get split, I think it's going to Sacha Baron Cohen. Like if he wins, I'll be like, God, they really just split the vote. That's how I'll know the vote was split.
Now this might surprise a lot of people. My personal pick here is Leslie Odom Jr. I'm not going to lie to you.
Interesting.
I was moved by what he did in that film. I really was. I think that based on his performance of the things are gonna change. I can't remember the name of the damn song. I love Sam
Right.
Cooke, but still
Yeah.
based on that, and then like the way that he just invoked the emotion. Like honestly, my pick recently became Leslie Odom Jr. But I think that
I
this
just
is
think
Sasha's award.
Yeah.
I think it's
The
Sasha's
kid who
award.
played Cassius Clay, I think, was just so much better.
I'm not gonna be mad
But
if Sasha
respectable
wins.
choice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be mad though
right.
if Sasha wins tonight though, because Sasha did really a bang up job. Nor would I be upset if Daniel Kaluuya won. I mean, there was so many times in that movie where I had to keep reminding myself that's Daniel Kaluuya. You know what I mean? And I kept having to. I wouldn't be upset, but I'm gonna go ahead and predict Sasha. I think he's gonna be the one tonight. What was your pick if you had to pick one of these?
I'm still picking Daniel Kaluuya.
Okay.
That's who I want to win, and that's also who I
Okay.
think will win.
Okay.
But it's really hard looking at it because now that I've seen all of these movies,
Right.
I'm looking at all five, and I'm like, they were all so good. I loved all of these performances.
Well, put it this way:
really
when I
did.
saw
It's
Judas and the
stacked.
Black Messiah, I was like, Daniel Kaluuya is gonna win. Until they put Lakeith Stanfield in the category, I was like, oh.
I was
Fuck.
watching live. I was watching the nominations live. I just happened to wake up early that morning.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, are you effing kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? Are you trying to split the vote? Did you see the movie? Who's the lead? Jesse Plemons wasn't the lead.
Yeah.
What do you mean supporting actor? Take Gary Oldman out of there. Get him,
Exactly.
throw him out of there.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
angry about it.
All
So
right.
I also don't like Mank.
All right. Who do we have for best supporting actress?
Best supporting actress, we have Maria Baklova for Borat's subsequent movie film. I'm not going to say the whole thing. Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. Olivia Colman, The Father. Amanda Seyfried, Mank. And I'm going to butcher it, Yun Jun Yo from Minari. Do you know how to pronounce her name?
I think you got it pretty close.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I don't think that was 100% right.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I want Baklava to take it home tonight.
Me too.
I do.
That's
I think
who I'd vote for.
But it's going to shock people.
The hard one.
I think it's going to be Glenn Close.
Interesting.
I think
you think it's finally her year?
I
you think it's finally going to happen?
I think they're going to do it. I think they are. Unfortunately, because this is, if I was to give Glenn Close the award for anything, I'll be happy that she finally got it. But if I was to, obviously it wouldn't be Hillbilly Elegy. You know, I mean, like, I think that it's going to suck. And I think that the upset here is going to be Amanda Seyfried. You know, I think is going to be the upset, and that's unfortunate. I think it's going to be between those two. But what's funny about that is I would take Baklava or Young June, whatever her name was, over them.
Young, I believe. Yeah.
I think that they both just did a better job overall. But I actually do think it's going to either be Close or Seyfried, and it's probably going to be Glenn Close just because she hasn't had it yet. So I think that it's her time. She's gonna have to win it probably before she passes. I think people are like, all right, we're getting down to the wire here, you know. And
it would be so funny if Olivia Colman beat her again.
Yeah.
That would be so funny. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be.
And
I would laugh.
I think the other thing that's working in Glenn Close's favor here is the fact that she was a shining spot in an otherwise piece of trash movie, from what I hear. So
right. I know I didn't see it either because I heard it was garbage.
I didn't see it, but I have seen a lot
garbage.
of clips of her performance, and by golly, is she good? Like, you know what I mean? So I think that she will be the winner this year. I just think it's her time. You know, sometimes the politics of the Oscars work in this way, unfortunately. But I've heard a lot of great talk about Seyfried. While I personally don't think she deserves it, she could be the upset again. But who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win?
I think it's probably I haven't seen Minari, but I probably Young Jun Yao. That's probably my guess. She is the front runner to win, so I am saying that just because I know that that's what other people are saying. And I mean, I would vote for Maria Baklova in a heartbeat, absolutely. But I mean, if I was picking though, honestly, I probably maybe Olivia Colman. She was again. Ooh. I am fresh off The Father, and I loved it. So and she was just phenomenal, and then I don't think she's gonna win though. But I would take a second before voting for Maria to be like, oh, but Olivia though was so good. But I do think it will be Young Jun Yao. I think she'll probably win because again, I don't think Minari is gonna win that many more awards, and I do think they're gonna spread the love around.
If she wins, I'll be happy because I think she deserves it over many others tonight. But again, I'm with you when pulling for Baklava. You know, I'm pulling for her so much. Like, if that happens, we'll both probably freak out if that happens.
I'll freak the fuck out.
If Young Jun Yao,
I will.
If Young Jun Yao, I can't remember how to pronounce it. If she wins,
I can't. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be thrilled because again, I think that she deserves it over so many others. So I'll be happy if they didn't give it to Close or Seyfried tonight. But we'll see what happens. But
Seyfried is the upset though. She's a sleeper pick.
She could come in there. Win. I think it's gonna be close.
I feel like a lot of people probably did vote for her because I feel like Mank does have a big following. And again, they're going to want to spread the love around.
So highly talked about, and I don't get it. I don't get it, but it is, and it's just it is what it is. So that's why I'm predicting it.
I don't get it either.
But anyway, moving on. What are our best actors?
This is one of the most stacked categories like in Oscar history. Yeah. All of these performances. I mean, minus Gary Oldman. I'm going to say minus Gary Oldman, and I haven't seen Minari, but I hear it's absolutely phenomenal. But, like, I mean, the three, though. For me, the big three. So we have Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, big three, and then Gary Oldman for Mank and Stephen Yeun for Minari. Oh, man. I mean, 1, 2, 3, Chadwick Boseman is going to win. Absolutely.
Chadwick's going to win.
And rightly. And I think correctly. it is hard because
Yeah.
I mean, Riz Ahmed and Anthony Hopkins, I think we're doing Magnus Opus level work
Yeah.
for them. They were at the top of their game, but I think Chadwick was as well, and it's it's unfortunate our circumstances, but I think that it's people are going to be justified in voting for him, not only because of his unfortunate passing, but also when you think about it, you're like,
Yeah.
but that he was really good.
Yeah, I know. I know we didn't get a lot of time to dive into Ma Rainey, but one of the things I would say about it,
we both had honorable mentions.
yeah, and one of the things I'll say about it is I was just so thrilled to see the fact that they didn't just nominate him because of the passing. He really did leave behind an incredible performance. So that is going to be the reason he wins tonight. It's not just because it's his last one. It's because it's an incredible last one, and
it's really similar like Heath Ledger.
Great behind. 100%.
It's like Heath Ledger. Like people still were like, oh, I'm still justified voting for him because my God, that performance was incredible.
It would be deserved, but I'm going to say this. Yeah. I'm going to say this right now. Do not be surprised if Riz Ahmed wins, though. Don't be surprised because
wouldn't be that mad about it, honestly. Wouldn't be that mad.
I think he was the better performer. I think he was the better performer. Don't be surprised if he takes it for that reason. But that said,
same with Anthony Hopkins. I wouldn't be mad if it's swept down under Chadwick and went to Anthony Hopkins, because again, like I said, that performance moved me so much.
I don't see it going to Hopkins as easily as it would go to Riz Ahmed, though. I think that Riz Ahmed is going to be, if there is an upset, it's going to be him. Don't be surprised if he doesn't walk away with it. I do think it's going to be Chadwick, though. I give you that. I think you're right. And my personal pick again, Riz Ahmed here. I think that he deserves it if he does get it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it'd be fair.
Yeah,
totally fair.
Completely fair. All right, what do we have for Best Actress?
All right, Best Actress, we have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand, Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. This one's also hard. I think it's really between Frances and Carey. I really think those are the two.
I disagree.
But I think Viola might sweep in under them.
I was going to say, I think it's between Frances and Viola. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I think Carey Mulligan did a phenomenal job, and she could get it. She could very well win it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. She's still there. I'd say
it's those three. It's a real, kind of pick and choose between those three.
I would not count out Carey Mulligan, but I got to be honest. I think that this one will go to Viola Davis tonight.
I want to be surprised. I'd be very happy. I would be very okay and content with her taking the award. But I do think it's going to be I think it's going to be Frances McDormand for the same reason that Chloe Zhao is going to win Best Director and Nomadland is going to win. I mean, spoiler alert for our next two categories. But for why Nomadland is, I think, is going to win Best Picture. It's all for the same reason. I think it's because it's an achievement in cinema more than she did the best performance that year. It's that what she did advanced the art of cinema and advanced, the artistry so much that they can't help but give it an award. That's what I really think. Because, I mean, Nomadland, a good movie, but again, both on our honorable mentions, not the best, but an achievement in film, and an incredible piece of history that should be respected. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Frances McDormand winning would be amazing, because this would be her third Best Actress award. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, I'm pulling for Carey Mulligan tonight. That's my pull.
No,
I want her to take this. I think that Frances McDormand, again, I would be thrilled if she won, because again, that's an incredible achievement to have three of these things. Viola Davis would not be deserving, but I want Carey Mulligan to get this. I think that Carey Mulligan, in terms of the amount of work, I think she, I mean, for somebody, I mean, I don't want to call her a newcomer necessarily, but she's still in this,
it's a different role for her, for sure.
She's in this smaller level of actress, not in terms of her ability, but just in terms of her resume. And I think that she really deserves it the most, just of everybody, in terms of that. Frances McDormand is the better performer. Don't get me wrong, she's the better performer of these two. But unfortunately, I predict that it will go to Viola tonight. I think that I think there's something about Viola Davis's presence on screen that people they can't forget it, and I don't disagree, because she did something so out of her realm. I mean, she really did. But Carey Mulligan, I want to take it. I think that she is kind of the Of these performances, she's my personal favorite to watch. While I recognize that Frances McDormand gave the better one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right. It's
it's
kind of like
hard.
I still want to say that like I think Carey Mulligan gave the best performance this year, but I think Frances McDormand probably did the better, I guess,
Yeah,
acting tech if you want to be technical about
yeah,
it. Like because I mean her performance is really great, but it's the fact that she held up that level of acting and that level of character under
yeah,
the circumstances she was in.
yeah,
Like that I think is a bigger achievement
yeah. I
than
get it.
what Carey Mulligan had to
Yeah,
do, but still, what Carey Mulligan did was just so phenomenal that
yeah.
you can't cut it out though.
Yeah, I'm just saying who was more fun to watch. It's Carrie. You know what I mean? And I
Oh my
pull for
god,
her for that
100%.
reason. And you know, but again, I think that it's gonna go to Viola, unfortunately, because I do
Wouldn't
think
be
that
mad about
there.
it.
I wouldn't be mad. No, it's just that I think that there are people more deserving in this category than her. But I think that
Mhm.
there is just something to her performance as Ma Rainey. The fact that she kind of transformed herself, I think, is very appealing to the voters tonight. And I think that they'll, yeah, I
Mhm.
think they'll definitely go that way.
And I think it'd be really great too if all four acting um, awards went to people of color.
Yeah,
That would be really beautiful.
yeah, it would be.
Because that's the front runners. The front runners right now is
Yeah,
all people of color, and I think
yeah.
that would be really wonderful.
That said, I mean, best actress right now, it's the tightest category tonight. I think like it's going to be tough between these three because
Yeah,
I
it
think that
usually is. Best actress usually is
yeah,
like because it's just all these women just keep like
they do, they
powerhouse
do.
doing powerhouse role after powerhouse role. Like every actress in Hollywood just seems to like want to throw themselves out there on screen. So we keep getting these stacked
Hmm.
best actress categories.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Uh,
gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough race.
yeah. What do we got for best picture? Let's go. Last category of the night.
All right, here we go. Best picture.
What's going to take
So
home the
we
big
have, let
award?
me find it if it's in the middle. I think it's in the middle of the article. There we go. All right. So for Best Picture, we have The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago Seven.
Go ahead, Sammy.
So again, Promising Young Woman is my choice. If it wins, I will scream and cry. I'll be the happiest person that's ever lived on this entire earth. Uh, I wanted to win so bad. Like it's in my heart. I feel like an emptiness that could be filled if Promising Young Woman just won Best Picture, but it's definitely not. It's 100% not going to. But Nomadland, I think, is going to win. I think it's going to be Nomadland. I think the sleeper pick might be Minari. That might come in and maybe take it because, again, like we always talk about, the thing about the Best Picture category at the Academy Awards is that every other award is selected by everybody just votes for one person. They
Mm-hmm.
vote for the one that they think should win, and that's it.
Yeah.
Best Picture, it's on a ranking system. So you have all 8 movies and then you rank them from least to favorite. And then it's a combination of all of those lists that gets number one.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes, like, if there's like one movie that half people love and half people hate, then that means half are going to put it at number one, half are at number 8, and which means it doesn't win Best Picture because it lands at like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing to think about when predicting Best
It's
Picture.
true. It's
Best
true.
Picture. However, I do think it's still going to be Nomadland because no matter what, I think it's going to be at the top for everybody.
Mm,
I don't think it's going to waver from like top 3 for most people
yeah.
in the Academy.
So
So I think Nomadland.
this is an interesting one because I had Trial of the Chicago 7 higher on my list in this category, on my personal list.
Mhm.
I'm pulling for Promising Young Woman though. Because
Yeah,
I
it's not
think
going to. I just don't think. The hard truth about it is, I don't think a movie about how you damage women when you don't believe their sexual assault allegations is going to be recognized as Best Picture
that's
by the Academy, of which many have sexual assault allegations against
but
them.
that's why I'm pulling for it.
And
That's why
I
I'm
really
pulling
think
for it
that's
though.
going to make the difference.
Exactly the reasons you don't
I
think
mean,
it
yeah,
will
I
win
just don't
is the
think
reason I'm pulling
these
for it.
men are going to vote for it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
Which
that.
is why I said I will scream and cry and be the happiest person if it wins, because that means that those people recognized that they were wrong and they internalized the movie and
Yeah.
voted for it, which would be my dream.
Right.
But I just don't think they actually internalized it that much. I don't think that many people actually did that.
So I'm gonna pull for it because I think it would be a very important step in the Oscar. You know what I mean? Like I think I'm pulling for it to win for that reason. That said, I know I'm supposed to say Nomadland for what I think will win. I think it's still going to be Trial of the Chicago 7. I think that this is going to be what actually ended up at the top. I think it's it. I think it's walking away with this award tonight. I think, call it a gut feeling or whatever. I think that this is the movie.
It's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
It's gonna, I think this is it. I agree. Yeah, it's the crowd. Again, it's the crowd pleaser. It's one that a lot of people are going to put very, very high.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be the baseline, I think. Versus some others, they're going to be like, well, I didn't like it that much, or I loved. It's going to, fall pretty high, I think, in the rankings. Yeah. So 100% possible.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I won't be surprised if Nomadland wins. Like, trust me. Like, I get that that's like in top contention right now, but I think it's actually going to be Trial of the Chicago 7.
It probably will. I think it will.
I had this gut feeling.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Gut feeling. It's my gut. I'm going with my gut on this. I think it's going to be Trial of the Chicago 7. I think that, like you were saying, it's the crowd pleaser. It's the one that I think appeals to most of the audience here. I think that it's just, it's rewatchable. They tend to like to pick, rewatchable movies tend to win, I think it's got more rewatch value than Nomadland.
It's about everything they want. Yeah. It has everything the typical Oscar voter wants, like a cast of people that they all recognize that were great, a writer and auteur that they know and respect,
100%,
a subject matter that they're familiar with but could go deeper in, and like a vibe that is just like quick and fun but also serious when it needs to be. Like that's a recipe for Best Picture.
100%. Well, guys, I'll tell you what. Let us know what you think.
We will see.
We'll try to live tweet during the ceremony tonight as well. Or I will. I don't know about Samee, but
people watching are in the future. Did Promising Young Woman sweep?
Yeah.
Am I dead because it swept and I had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Let me know.
All right. We got to wrap up here, so we're going to get going. Samee, where can people find you real quick?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram. I'm at Samee Ramirez 14, and then also on Twitter at Samee Ramirez. Also on Stereo at Samee Ramirez.
Very good. And you can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_ and on Instagram Dom_Martino_official, and on Stereo at Dom Martino. Please follow us all there. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff on Stereo. Great to talk to you guys. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button below, leave feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. Appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you at the Oscars. Bye-bye.